Hi friends, I'm Emily Lay, and you're listening to the Simplified podcast. If you're looking for a quiet place where you can filter out the noise and the hustle, this is it. Every week I invite you to slow down and join me to explore practical ways to organize and automate the complicated parts of life so you can focus on what truly matters most. Are you getting ready for the new year? At Simplified, we are too, and we want to help. From now until the end of the year, you can buy one, get one Simplified planner free at emilylay.com. If you've ever wanted to try a weekly planner for meal planning and a daily planner for your schedule, now is your chance. Or you can buy one for yourself, gift one to a friend, and have a 2023 planning session together. Head over to emilylay.com before our BOGO sale ends on December 31st. Guys, welcome to our third episode of our Simplifying 2023 New Year's series. As we gear up for the year ahead, I am so delighted to help you think about how to create a few systems and routines that'll help you streamline your days and build a year that's filled with more things that matter most to you and your family. If you haven't listened to our first two episodes, go back and check those out when you're done here. They're really great listens while you tackle any chore around the house this week, which I can guarantee is what I'm doing right now, but I digress. Here's a question I want you to think about today. How can you shape your home to nurture your heart in this particular season? I know, what an easy question, right? Let me say that again so you can take a second to think about it. How can you shape your home to nurture your heart in this particular season? That's the key, right? Seasons change and our hearts change and our needs change right alongside them. What you needed 10 years ago probably isn't what you need right now. So how do you shape the way your home functions in a way that really works for you and your family? What is it that you guys need more than anything? I don't know about you, but in this season, I just want my home to be a place where I can feel a sense of rest. I want it to be a place where my kids can come back from school and help themselves to a snack in the pantry without causing too much destruction in their wake and begin to settle in after a long day of school and practice. I want our home to be a place where we can sit down at the kitchen table as a family and talk about our days, whether it's a long, lingering meal over a Sunday pot roast or a quick dinner of Jersey Mike's we picked up because it's Tuesday and Tuesdays are impossible. I want a comfy, cozy room where we can plop on the couch and watch the Great British Baking Show. And I always want to open our doors to host friends and family for barbecues. Honestly, I just want my home to be a place where the people inside can rest and connect. As much as we can, I want to put aside all the mess and uncertainty that happens outside the walls of our home so we can make room for the relaxation and memories together. That's the goal anyway. Those are the things that matter to me. So how do you get more of the things that matter most? You create space for them. And when it comes to your home, that kind of means we literally make space for them. And that's where Jen Roban comes in. Jen is the owner of Life in Jeneral. And guys, if you don't know her yet, then hop aboard the fangirl train with me because not only is she great at what she does, she'll make you feel great about yourself too. That's the kind of woman she is. Let me tell you more about her. Jen is the founder and CEO of Life in Jeneral, a full-service organizational design company that, I might add, gives the world as much calm and comfort as they do beautiful design and function. From the time she was little, Jen's been a master at organizing and creating systems. Early in her career, she started out as a celebrity executive assistant. And in the process, she realized that organizing truly was about transforming lives for the better. She started Life in Jeneral in 2014, and since then, she hasn't looked back. She has changed thousands of lives in the process. Because Jen doesn't just ask you to look at the stuff in your house. She asks you to look at your soul first, to figure out what truly matters to you in your life so that you can shape your life around that, not the other way around. I know, deep stuff, but that is Jen, and that is why she is so good at what she does. Here's the thing about this episode. This is not going to be a shame-inducing diatribe of all the things you're doing wrong in your home. It's not going to be an organization boot camp you're going to burn out on after 30 minutes because you're just overwhelmed by everything you feel like you need to do. No one's going to tell you to throw away all your stuff and buy a bunch of stuff to hold the other stuff you didn't throw away and take a lot of photos of your now perfect pantry so you feel better about yourself. No, this episode is a permission slip. It's a permission slip to create a home that works the way you need it to, in a way that helps you get to love and laughter and the good stuff of life a bit faster. If that means getting lots of bins and a label maker out, then sister, do what works for you. If that means having a living room with Fisher-Price toys that aren't hidden in baskets because your kid needs to see exactly where they all are at all times or else, by all means, do that. Either way, I want you to know you don't have to follow someone else's playbook for building a life you love. That includes your home, too. Just take what works and leave the rest behind. I'm so glad you're here today, friend, and I am so pleased to share my conversation with Jen Roban of Life in General. Well, Jen, hi. I am so excited to talk with you. We have been talking about doing this forever, and it's just so great to meet you on the screen and get to chat with you about all of this.
Same. Thank you so much for having me. I've been looking forward to this.
Of course. Well, for anyone who is new, can you just tell them a little bit about yourself and what you do?
I started Life in General about 8 years ago. It's a professional organizing company. We help people declutter, help them move, anything and everything when it comes to life organization, simplifying all the good stuff. For me, it started when I was very young. I was the kid rearranging the classroom, student government, just always trying to figure out how to solve a problem.
Right.
And I was a personal assistant before I started Life in General. And I saw firsthand every single day how the systems I created in this person's home and life transformed his everyday. And so it really was me working for my old boss, like helping friends and family on the weekend. I was so booked, loved it, not charging, doing just like the excitement of moving someone, which obviously people hate moving. And I was there 7 a.m. on a Saturday for my friends. And some of my friends kind of just said, this is something. And this light bulb that came where I'm like, I want to do this as long as I can for as many people as I can. And it kind of just came to like, let's just take a leap of faith. And here we are.
That is wild.
Yeah.
It's so funny to hear you say that because my story began exactly the same way and I took it a different direction. But like you and I are kindred spirits. Give me an empty Sunday and a junk drawer and I am in my husband always says like, we used to get in like a little bit of tug of war on the weekends because I would be like, come on, don't you want to clean out the garage? And he'd be like, no, not at all. And so now he just lets me do my thing and he goes and watches football. It's fine.
My fiance knows Sundays are my self-care days and I'm not doing like manicures and pedicures and taking baths. I am deep cleaning and going head to toe for my whole house. Like it is just a dream every Sunday reset. And it's just a part of, I'm crazy, but I'm like, it's a part of who I am now. And it makes me like start the week off better and everything's just, so when I miss those days, I feel like totally different and something's off. So I really appreciate that.
I love that. I love it so much. And my daughter is actually the exact same way. And my mom is the same way. So I think it's like in our DNA. Well, I love what you said about you working for someone in the past as an assistant and like setting up systems that help their life run better. So a lot of times we'll see like these beautiful color organized pantries on Instagram or whatever. And it's like, great, that looks good, but how's this going to impact my life? So I guess that's a good segue into when you go to meet with a new client and you're helping them with some sort of transition that they're going through, what is the most important question that you ask before you get started?
So I love sitting down with them and I taking the time to really listen to their story and hear them out of like, not just what are your problem areas, but I'm like, what do you love in your life? What do you love to do? What's your family dynamic? What gets you up in the morning? Like it really is like the cheesiness, soulful part of why I created this company is how do you want to feel day in and day out? And I really, life is too short to have all the clutter and the mess if you're not happy. Great. I love painters where they can really thrive in that space. But for 99% of the world, it changes their entire life by the space they're in. And when they feel the clutter, they see it, the distractions, they're really not living like their best, most potential because they're feeling so bogged down, so overwhelmed. Their sanity's all over the place. I didn't go to school for psychology, but I've worked with thousands and thousands of clients and all of them come back to the same thing. Like they just want to be organized so they can have more time in their day, have more time with their kids, have more time with their friends where they're not always feeling like a laundry list of to-dos and they're just always never being able to keep up.
Yeah, it's like that decision fatigue too. Like when you walk into your closet and there's 900 items calling for your attention, and half of it used to fit you 5 years ago, and half of it is a style that makes you feel very uncomfortable. It's like, well, what if you just had the 15% of what's in there so that when you walked in, you see what we called our best favorite necessary. Like you have exactly what you need and nothing else, and your brain is free from like all of those thoughts about what you used to fit in, you know?
No, oh, I love that. I love it's so true. It goes back to what matters and
Yeah.
being that space in life that you want. And I believe this to my core of why when you get organized, your life runs more smoothly. There's nothing worse than the chaos. And you're like, oh, that is a correlation of how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
So
How do you balance like living with other people and also not being perfect yourself and, having, people actually setting their things down and leaving stuff everywhere? How do you balance your love for organization and wanting everything to have a home and be in its place and like not wringing people's necks?
yeah. Look, I have some amazing bonus kids and I can just see it happening. And I'm like, okay, it's really going back to the root of what's important. And so I sit down with family members and say, look, this is
Yeah.
really important to me. And how can we support each other during this time? Because seasons change, things happen,
Yeah.
bringing home a baby, marriage, and what we teach our clients. It's getting to the root of like, this is important. And so I want to live this way because of X, Y, and Z. And so it comes down to honestly communicating. And,
Yeah.
homes aren't going to be perfect. There's no such thing. We believe in
Yeah.
progress and making sure your space fills you up. But
Hmm.
especially with kids too, I always say like, create the system. We
Yeah.
can maintain it, but it's never going to be perfect. And it's
No.
also great to have to be, you want to live in the space. You don't want it to be like this stark, no one can touch anything. That's not
Hmm.
how our house is. I want people to make a mess and play, but then we have the system. So how we can put it back so then we can go on to
Yeah.
the next.
To the next thing. So our pantry in this house, we built this house, a custom house, and our last house and the one before it, the pantry was like a cabinet, right? Like it was very small. So here it's much larger, and I had someone come in and help me do, outfit it and organize it and make it beautiful. And I had this inclination where I wanted all of the really small, clear bins for every little tiny thing. But with three kids and a husband and a dog and like everything else, I don't have it in me to go and micro organize that way on a daily basis. And so we put in things like baskets that you just throw it in. It's fine. You kind of organize it and sort it. And it's more of a macro organizing than a micro, but it works. And it's a system that while it may not work for everyone, someone may love that micro organizing. It really works for our little crew over here.
And every person's different, every family dynamic and what works for someone might not work for another. And like, I
Mhm.
love to decant. And again, I'm a bonus mom, so we don't have kids 100% of the time.
Yeah.
So for me, I have the time, but that's what gets me up in the morning. So I'm going to
Yeah.
decant that pasta.
Yeah.
But a lot of our clients are like, I'm never going to be that person. Put it in a bin, label it pasta, and call it a day.
Call it a day. Yeah.
It goes with having those questions of like, what is your reality and what are you realistically going to do? Because we need to set you up for success.
I love that. Is that what you call soul work? Doing the soul work beforehand?
Yep. It
That's
really
awesome.
is getting in touch of what matters, but also what is the day to day in your life?
Yeah.
You have three kids? They're not going to decant. They're
No.
kids. They're going to be out playing and doing all
There's like a
that.
box of Little Debbie's all over my floor in my pantry right now.
And like, look, life is meant to be lived. And so I'm always like, let's get back to, I'm going to give you some suggestions based on all these questions that we ask and how we learn about a family, but it is
Yeah.
not the reality for everyone. I'm like, I'm not setting you up for success because you're never going to sit here and decant and label.
Yeah.
So let's do the macro and see, like you said, the bins and the zones and really set you up for success in that way. And then talk to everyone like, here's where breakfast goes, here's snacks, there's labels, but it's in this zone versus like, here's each little divider.
I love that. In the Simplified planners, we have what we call simplified prep work, and it's these couple of pages that you walk through before you ever put a date on the calendar. And it's like, what's working for you, what's not working for you, what's your ideal day look like? And just like you're saying, I feel like getting your head in that mind space helps you be intentional about the way you're using it or what you're setting up. Like organizational wise, my kids, when they were really small, getting out the door in the morning was a nightmare. And it was like two of them were going one direction, one of them didn't know where his shoes were. So we started using shoe baskets and it stuck. And now I have an 11-year-old and two 7-year-olds, and we still have shoe baskets. Their everyday shoes and socks go in there, and no one asks me where their shoes are in the morning.
I love it. We are definitely kindred spirits.
Yeah.
That filled me up. And we have a shoe basket too by our front door.
Right? I love that. Okay, so I know that this answer might vary like person to person, situation to situation, but in general, which room would you say gives you the most bang for your buck in terms of starting your organizing journey?
So it does depend on everybody and what their situation is. I really think the closet, I feel like whatever size space, it's a good starter. It is something, I think it goes back to like the confidence in what you're wearing and walking out the door and feeling good, but also the day-to-day of, can you find your stuff? What are you wearing that day? Like, how is your closet set up so you're not, pulling through things and then late and that whole snowball effects. And then for me, we do have a garage. Not everyone has one, and a lot of our clients don't, but having that space, because it usually is a catch-all where it's kind of like your thought. So for me, like the transformation of a garage and how you can set up for success, but not everyone has one. So it really is kind of between those two for me, but it does differ from everyone. I always say there's people that have the Monica closet from Friends where like, we don't need to go over here. It's fine. And I'm like, can I just do a walk around your whole house? Even though you hired us for the bathroom or the closet or the garage, your whole house does function together. And so we want to see the whole to say, okay, I know you have this stuff over here, but your day to day, your flow of how you're working right now, this actually would be set up better over here and help you save time, energy, money, all of that. And also just getting your kids out of the house in the morning. Taking inventory of what for each person kind of gives them the most stress, because it does vary. But I would say we get called for the most for those spaces.
Okay, I could totally see that. And it's crazy like what a small change will do. Like I'm thinking about our kitchen when we moved in. My mom, she was like, please let me come over and tell you which drawers need to be which things. And I was like, okay, this sounds like so much fun. So she came over and was like, silverware needs to go here because it's near the dishwasher and closest to the table. And then the junk drawer is going to go here because this is where you're going to drop your bags. And so like little decisions like that, they really do help the way you operate and the way, things unfold.
I love your mom, by the way. Love her.
Her house is immaculate, by the way.
You should tell her the joy drawer, we call it.
Oh, I like it.
But it's so true. It's just looking at a space, looking at the flow and how you can maximize it. Because at the end of the day, you want more time with the people you love and not having to worry about all the other things. So it does, you invest in it once and taking the time to set you up for success. Like when you guys did your home, it's a forever thing. Right? You just now maintain it.
Yep, we have a system. One of the things that you talk about that I love is life-giving things versus life-taking things. So can you tell us a little bit more about that and how to tell the difference between the two?
Yes. So life-giving things are things that you love, need, use, the thing that bring you joy, the stuff that like you're surrounded with that's adding value to your life. And then life-taking things are essentially clutter. So things that are taking away from your time, like I said, your money, your energy, your sanity, your freedom to live more of a life that you want. So I always say, like, when you go through the inventory of whatever space you're in, if they're like, oh, I never use it, I hate it, I'm like, these are some buzzwords. So then talk through, why do you have it? And going through very kindly our whole questions of, if you don't love, need, or use it, like, let's really have that honest conversation, because it could be donated to someone that will and find value. And then it will change, not just your day to day, but your future spending habits, your future of what you want in the space. So it all matters. And it goes back to just having those honest conversations. And sometimes it's like, but maybe someday. And I'm like,
it's an emotional journey, isn't it?
It is. And it's not easy. And, I do this for a living, and it's not easy. It is the soul work. It is hard, but it is something like you do it and you commit to it. It changes your entire life.
I love that. Going through my closet is always a really sobering lesson in my spending habits. Quality versus quantity, or sometimes the other ways around. It's exciting for sure.
Yeah.
What about, I have one more question for you, and then I have rapid fires. I have 3 quick questions for you at the end. But one of the things that has changed in my life recently is I have 3 kids, and I told them all they could each choose one sport, per season.
Yeah.
And so I have one playing tackle football, which is a whole story. I have another one playing flag football, and have a little girl in dance, which means I'm in the car all the time. What are your best tips for making your car a place that is organized, that maybe doesn't have goldfish all over the back seat, that maybe someone didn't spill an orange Fanta on your floor and can't get it up forever and ever? Speaking hypothetically, what advice do you have for keeping your car nice and tidy and organized?
So it goes back to either a car organizer, as simple as that, of having, I have one in my car. It has 3 dividers. So it'd be perfect for you, where it's each kid gets a divider. Also, I know it sounds crazy, but I've told clients, and it actually really has worked, where they have seats where it's this kid is here. So it's a little zone. So they have couches for their snacks and their name on it and their iPad or whatever that looks like, if you can. Again, it's not realistic, and everyone's just a free for all. Something that has really helped me is actually just putting a little trash can. So these little things where I'm oh yeah, that's a simple little thing where I'm instead of having it collect everywhere.
In the cup holders.
Everywhere. I'm oh, that was a me thing for a little while too. And I'm I wonder why I'm going crazy. But also I think there's an importance of teaching kids and adults the sweep out. So at the end of the day, just taking a quick, before you get out of your seat, is there anything that doesn't belong here, and bringing it into the house? So I think those are some of my best tips, but that car organizer will really help, because you can move it in and out. Your kids could each have their spot, but just having those zones, just like we would do in any space of the home. It's being intentional about the space. And with our family, I'm hey, can we do a sweep right before we? I'm crazy, but I'm it feels,
I do the same thing.
It feels so good, and then the next day you're not coming in. You're why is there trash everywhere? So I think it's important of having the conversation, and it's good for kids to learn, and adults, where you're okay, what does not belong in here, and how and not every day is going to be perfect or timing and all that, but there is some success to that progress that you make of continuing to do that every time you get in your car.
I love that. Whenever I put gas in the car, I will try to go to the gas station that has the thing where it will stay on, you know what I'm talking about? And then I'll use those, 3 minutes to walk around the car and get all the trash out. And the kids know, when we pull up, get the trash, hand it to mom through the window, and I'll throw it away. And then I also used to keep a bag in my car, and I would always try to remember to take it out, especially when the kids were little, to bring up extra stuff. Our house is on pilings, so to get to the main door, you have to go upstairs. And so that bag, just having it with me to take the water bottles and the extra papers that fell out of somebody's backpack.
For sure. And you just pull it. And it's in the house, if you have a 2-story, even a longer home, I'm always do the basket and just walk around and everything that doesn't belong in that space, and then take that, 20 minutes.
That is a genius move.
A lot of sanity.
Same. And sometimes I just take the basket and I just put it in a closet. But other times I will go through and put it all away. But it's so much faster than going piece by piece, by room by room. Sure. That whole thing.
I love it.
I could talk to you forever.
I know. What are you talking about?
Right? Can we talk about my junk drawer? Yeah. It's a disaster right now. Okay, I have 3 quick, rapid questions for you, and you just say, whatever comes to your mind. Number 1, which space in your home has to be organized, or you can't function properly as a human?
Can I say everywhere?
Yes.
Kitchen.
Yeah, definitely kitchen. I feel that's for us at least, is the most used room. What is your ride or die organizational tool?
Label maker.
I was going to say, I love the label maker you posted the other day. That thing is so cool.
And notes on my phone.
Yes, same. Okay, love it. What is something you're really excited about in 2023?
Oh, I am excited because we just bought our very first home.
You did! Congrats! That's so exciting.
I'm very, very excited. So we'll be spending this year renovating
Oh,
and doing
wow.
a full gut remodel and creating a space for me and my family. And it's
Wow.
amazing. Yeah.
That is awesome. Wow. Thank you so much for being on here. This was so fun. We're going to have to do this again because it
Yes.
was way too much fun.
Anytime. So
And go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you and find your book and everything else.
yeah. So lifeingeneral.com, we have everything there. And then you can follow us on all social channels at Life in General and Generals with a J.
Love it. Okay, you guys, that was so fun. I could seriously talk to Jen for like days, I think. We have so much in common and come from such a similar place of wholeheartedness when it comes to all of this. I'm so glad she was able to join us today. Definitely go check her out on Instagram and check out her book as well. As we close out this episode, I'd like to say a blessing for you as we leave this time together and get back to our days. This year, I hope your home brings you the rest you deserve after working so hard. I hope your home is a place where you can curl up with a cup of tea and a good book, and have dance parties in the kitchen with your kids, and eat takeout after the long shifts you have as a makeshift shuttle driver. I hope your home is a haven from the uncertainty outside your walls, and a balm of connection for all of you inside. Before you go, here is a small way you could try out something we talked about today and see how it works for you. If you have a drawer that gives you hives every time you open it, especially if it's a drawer that has a lot of small items floating around in it, I have to tell you something. Drawer bins are going to save your life. I'm not being dramatic here either. If you do one thing for your home this year, get some drawer bins or drawer dividers. You don't have to get anything expensive. Honestly, any small bins will do here. Let's take the bathroom, for example. If you've got brushes and hair ties and bobby pins all mingled together, it's going to feel so nice to open the drawer and immediately find exactly what you need instead of hunting around for that one special hair tie that's your favorite. The one that's got the perfect amount of loose tension so it doesn't feel like someone is pulling on your skull when you put your hair up. Drawer bins also work wonders for nail polish, makeup, even in the kitchen with all the little gadgets that you have. Wherever you have a lot of small loose items, drawer bins are going to be your best friend. So say goodbye, junk drawers and junky drawers. See what I did there? Thank you for listening to the Simplified podcast. I hope today's episode helps you create a home with more simplicity and joy in the year ahead. You can find show notes for this episode at emilylay.com/podcast. And you can shop the Simplified brand of planners and products that'll help you stay organized in the year ahead. And if you like the podcast, then I think you'll love my new book called Sure as the Sunrise, 100 Morning Meditations on God's Mercy and Delight. It's available now at your favorite book retailer. This show is one of my favorite things I get to do, you guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing and reviewing. If there's something you're loving about the show, or even if you have a simplicity tip of your own that you'd like to share with me, you can drop me a line over on Apple Podcasts. I read all of your words and take them to heart, and it helps the show find more people who will enjoy it as well. So thanks for doing that. Till next time, thanks for listening. Bye.